In the city of Verona Heights, where love often blooms amidst the chaos of ambition and pride, two women stood at opposite ends of a battlefield neither had chosen, yet both refused to abandon. Layla Morgan was the quiet type, a poet at heart, with soft eyes and a soul that spoke in verses. She worked at a cozy independent bookstore tucked away in a sleepy corner of town. Life had never been easy for her. After losing both parents by age 18, she learned to rely only on herself. Her world was filled with literature, handwritten notes, and daydreams. That's when Julian Rivers walked in. Julian, a charismatic architect with an artistic flair and a tragic past of his own, became a regular at the bookstore. He would come in every Saturday morning, order the same cinnamon latte, and ask for a book recommendation. Layla, enchanted by his mind as much as his smile, began to fall for him quietly. Their conversations deepened. He read her poems, complimented her taste in music, and one evening after a thunderstorm locked them inside the shop, he kissed her. But Julian carried secrets, and one of them was Rhea Caldwell. Rhea was everything Layla wasn't: bold, confident, sharp-tongued, and unapologetically successful. A lawyer by profession, she'd met Julian 3 years earlier at a charity gala. Their connection was instant, fiery and intoxicating. But their relationship had been a roller coaster of passion and pride. They'd broken up 6 months before he met Layla, but they had never fully let go. When Rhea saw Julian and Layla together at a rooftop jazz bar one Friday night, her world tilted. She hadn't expected to see her Julian again, let alone holding another woman's hand. The quiet girl in the vintage dress looked fragile, naive even. Rhea thought it would be easy to win him back. She underestimated Layla's quiet fire. What started as awkward tension soon turned into open rivalry. Rhea confronted Julian first, demanding clarity. "Do you love her?" she asked, voice laced with pain and pride. Julian hesitated. "I don't know. Care about you, Rhea. But Layla, she makes me feel peaceful, safe." Rhea wasn't used to losing. "Then fight for her peace," she said bitterly, "because I won't go down quietly." Rhea began appearing at Julian's office with old memories, photographs, and spontaneous lunches. She knew how to make him laugh, how to push his buttons, how to seduce him with nostalgia. Meanwhile, Layla, heartbroken but proud, distanced herself. But Julian kept calling, kept writing her notes, sending her books with highlighted pages. Layla couldn't ignore the connection. Then came the party, an upscale gala for an art fundraiser. All three were invited. Layla, dressed in a soft emerald gown, walked in alone. Rhea, draped in fire-red silk, was already beside Julian. Eyes met. Hearts tightened. Words weren't necessary. War had been declared. Rhea approached Layla with a champagne glass and a challenge in her smile. "You think quiet wins hearts. Julian needs a woman, not a muse." Layla met her gaze. "Maybe he's tired of fighting and needs a little peace." Julian stood, conflicted between the two women. For months, his heart had been torn in opposite directions. One woman ignited him, the other soothed him. The tension reached its peak when Layla disappeared from the city for 2 weeks, leaving Julian a letter. "You have to choose, Julian. I won't stay in a love triangle. If you want me, find me." Rhea, sensing opportunity, invited Julian to a weekend away. Just the two of them. He agreed, but his heart wasn't in it. Her laughter didn't ring the same. Her kisses felt like old fire trying to reignite. And in the quiet of night, he realized, passion without peace burns out. He left the next morning and drove 3 hours to a seaside town Layla once told him about. He found her on the pier, sketching the horizon in a notebook. "I choose you," he said, breathless. "I choose the way you calm the storm inside me. I don't want fire. I want a home." Layla looked at him long and hard. "Are you sure it's not just easier?" He took her hand. "No, it's right." Rhea never begged. She watched the news. Julian and Layla together at another bookstore event, their names whispered like poetry. She didn't call. She didn't cry. But in the solitude of her penthouse, Rhea started to write a book about love, rivalry, and what it means to be chosen or not. And for Layla and Julian, love grew slowly but steadily, built on trust and the battles they'd survived. Because in the end, sometimes love is not about who fights the hardest, but who makes you feel like the war is over. Months passed. Layla and Julian moved in together in a modest brownstone near the river. The walls were lined with books and old records, and the windows always smelled of cinnamon and rain. It was quiet, it was warm, and it was for the most part enough. But love doesn't erase wounds, it only makes space for them to heal. And sometimes the scars whisper when the nights are long. Julian started drawing again, designing homes with rooftop gardens and curved glass, things that felt more like poetry than architecture. Layla was thriving. Her poems were published in a small literary journal, and she began holding open mic nights at the bookstore. From the outside they looked perfect, but inside Layla, a tiny crack was forming. She began to wonder if Julian had chosen her because she stayed, or because Rhea pushed. One night, as she poured tea and Julian worked late in his studio, Layla found a message on his phone. It was from Rhea. "Your building design for the Carter case is beautiful. I miss watching you sketch like that." Layla didn't reply. She didn't even bring it up. But she couldn't forget it. Rhea Caldwell had been many things in her life: valedictorian, trial attorney, political campaign manager, but never second. The realization that Julian had chosen Layla didn't break her. It redefined her. For the first time in years, she sat alone and didn't fill the silence with alcohol or ambition. She wrote through it. The manuscript became a memoir. The Woman Not Chosen, a searing, vulnerable, unapologetic look at heartbreak, pride, and what it means to rebuild after rejection. To her surprise, it was picked up by a major publisher. Rhea became a voice. Women in cafes, in courtrooms, in quiet apartments across the country began quoting her. Sometimes being the villain in someone else's love story means you were the hero in your own. But fame didn't fill the hollow space Julian once did. She kept thinking about Layla, how she had underestimated her. The softness, she realized, had been armor. The poems had been battles. And maybe, just maybe, Rhea hadn't lost because she was too much. Maybe she lost because Julian wasn't enough for her. Still, curiosity lingered. It was spring when Rhea walked into Layla's bookstore again. She wore a tailored blazer, hair pulled back, holding a copy of her own book. The bell above the door chimed like it was announcing something sacred. Layla looked up, surprised but calm. "Didn't expect to see you here," she said softly. Rhea smiled. "Didn't expect to come. I figured it's time." Layla offered her tea. No coldness, just the quiet strength Rhea had come to respect. They sat by the window, and for a long time neither spoke. Outside, the trees were just beginning to blossom. Rhea finally broke the silence. "I hated you. Not because of who you were, but because of what you represented. You were everything I couldn't fake." Layla nodded. "I feared you. Because you were everything I'd never be." Their eyes met, not as rivals but as reflections. Women who had loved the same man, but were no longer defined by him. "You should know," Rhea said carefully. "I'm done chasing ghosts. And if Julian ever reaches back out, it won't be me answering." Layla raised her tea. "To peace. To power," Rhea answered. They clinked mugs. A few weeks later, Julian's world began to shift. His firm was hired to design the new literary wing of the State University, Layla's alma mater. The committee loved his concept, but they had one condition. The keynote speaker at the opening would be Rhea Caldwell, the author whose book had become a campus favorite. Layla and Julian would have to attend the same event as Rhea. Again. But this time no one was fighting. At the ceremony, Julian watched Rhea speak. She was magnetic, bold, whole. And he realized something quietly heartbreaking. She didn't need him anymore. And maybe she never really had. That night, Layla wrapped her arms around Julian on the hotel balcony. "She's brilliant," she said. She always was, he replied. And you chose me. I still do. Layla kissed him softly, but somewhere in her chest, she wondered. Not whether he still loved her, but whether love should have to be chosen at all.